Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello,
Hello.
hello, hello.
I'm going to move Katie up here beside Diana. There we go. That's better. I'll take the low bench.
I'd like to
So
try to
good.
block the sun, but no, not that I don't love the sun, but
But it
there's
feels
no
so
place.
good on your skin, doesn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and there's
Like a
no
cat
place.
in the window.
There's no place in my house where I don't have this kind of light, because I don't like drapes, and
Okay.
the heaviest drape I have is a sheer drape.
Nice.
So you just reminded me of something. Billy Thornton. What is his name? Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob.
Billy Bob doesn't like drapes. He hates the velvet drapes. Actually, he can't go into antique stores because he has this aversion to drapes and old things. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, wow.
But
He's a very odd fellow. Yeah. When he was
Wow.
married to Angelina Jolie, they had vials of blood on them. Remember? They wore each other's blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we are
Not
here.
today, thank you.
Not today. That's right. Hi, Craig. Hi, Pierrette. Hi, Starlight. Hi, Richie. And Linda. Nice to see. Hypnicity. Annie. Penny. Oh, your cousin's here. Penny. Rose Flower. And yeah. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hi, Deirdre. It's nice to see you. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. So, yes. Hi, Teresa. Nice to see you, too. Hey.
Mhm.
So this is our regular dream show that we have, Kate and I have, and we're very lucky always when we get to have Diana come as well.
Yes.
And so we are, 2 weeks ago, we started talking about the Jung book, and we spent a long time on it. And so today we thought we might finish up a little bit of that we left behind. And also, if you want to put your dreams up, Craig, I got your dream. So we'll talk about that. Hi, Anita. So, Craig, are you going to go see Anita when you go out to California? I hope so. You'll have to tell us. You know, there's nothing better, Kate, than meeting people that you only know here in the real flesh. Isn't that true?
It's absolutely. It's so much fun. It is such a boost of wonderful energy. It's so good.
It really is. Yeah. I can't wait to meet Diana and all the others that will eventually meet up.
Now, remember, enter the contest.
Enter the contest.
The contest.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
we should do our own retreat.
Maybe we should. We could have all kinds of stuff. We could have astrology. We could have dream analysis. We could have card throwing.
Absolutely. It would be.
I'd have to do it.
Yeah.
Pick me.
Craig says, sure, Aley, you must be psychic. Oh, that's funny. Hi, Fluffy Heroine. Annie, you used to have dreams where you were helping people in trauma by comforting them. I love your picture, Annie, with your doggy.
Yeah. I know, it's so sweet.
It is. I think that that you must have some sort of a compassionate gift, Annie, if you're dreaming about that. What say you, Kate? You think?
I would agree with you, Aley, that this is guides and angels giving you that peace that allows you to be comfortable in a traumatic or in a space of helping others. It is assuring you that yes, you should go do this. That this is that is a gift given to you, and not many have that.
Right.
A lot of people get really true. Yeah. No, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So little doggy's name is Rosie. Thank you so much. She says, rarely I have prophetic dreams. That's great, Annie. I
got the feeling that was a remnant from a past life.
It's very possible. She may have been a nurse or attending, like a nun that would attend to people.
Right?
That's
In
true.
a wartime situation.
Right.
Definitely. I could see that. So here's a dream for you. My husband said he lost one of his crowns a couple of weeks ago. So he then had dreams that he was losing his teeth. And he kept having them. So he went in Saturday to have his crown refitted, put back on. And as he got to his car, another crown fell out. So I'm not sure if it was prophetic or if he just, it's almost like you dream about it and then it happens. It's like how you have to be careful with your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just
Manifestation.
Yeah.
But I told him he was fortunate to be going to the dentist with that other crown and not when he got home. Yeah. Yeah.
And were they the same age? Did he have them put on at the same time the last time?
Yes.
So
and the dentist said in the last 5 years, they've changed the glue or the whatever they use to make it much more
and
stronger.
everything shifts, and we grit our teeth in our sleep, and things like that can all have a factor, but especially if they were the same age. But then I would look at it as prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Remember that other
was
one?
It future memory? Was it future memory? Right.
Yeah.
We talked about that. We did. We talked about that. And this morning he was telling me about it. And I thought, but I think teeth are also small details. I think that's what they mean too. And so not knowing what the small details are, let's say, and needing to know a little bit more. But he's had that happen before, not with the teeth necessarily, but he's had it happen before. So he actually had a situation where in the 80s, I don't know if it was like a forward progression or whatever, but he was able to see the cars that we drive now. They were all lined up along a roadway, and he said they were really weird looking, and they were small and they were squat, and at that time we didn't have those kinds of cars, except for a Volkswagen or something, but it wasn't like that.
Little Nash Rambler pulled up on the right, much to my surprise. Beep 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 beep. His horn went beep beep beep.
I forgot that song.
My
That's
God,
great.
Darwin.
Yeah.
I haven't thought of that song in years.
Rambler. That's the what was that?
There you go.
American Motors, right? AMC,
American Motors. Yeah.
Studebaker.
Yep. So Annie, they could be about words. He found both of them. He had the crowns, so he just had to have them redone. She was asking about that. Fortunately, because that could have cost a lot of money. Yeah.
Well, and sometimes your teeth, you're losing the anchor tooth.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Right, if that's not healthy or the gum lines changed around it and stuff like that, you gotta start all over again. Makes me wonder how many times they gave me a new one and I didn't really need it.
Well, see, I have a dentist that won't do that, and I love him because you go into one of these chains and they say, "Oh yeah, well here's this we can do all these things and it will only be $31,000, and I said, no, thank you."
my mother and
my
father paid
gosh,
for our first house in 1949.
Yep, I know. Hi, Cat Mama. I'm glad you're lurking. All right, and hi, Arlene for me. Nice to see you. No barking.
Peanut gallery.
Oh my God. So today we do want to finish up talking about archetypes that Jung brought up and signs versus symbols.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to, there was something that I wrote down, and I've talked about this before on the dream shows, and it was that your house can be a symbol of your personality, and not only just parts of your body. So for instance, you're dreaming of an attic, it could be your higher self, or if you're dreaming of going to the bathroom, of course, that might be something very, very different as well. Okay, Samantha, I got it. I'm going to put that up there and we'll get to it, dear. Thank you. So a sign, he said, is less than the concept that it represents. That's what he said. And a symbol stands for something more than its obvious meaning. In dreams, symbols occur spontaneously because dreams just happen and they're not invented. So they are the main source of all our knowledge about symbolism. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. And what symbols we associate
we
with.
attach to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the interpretation. We all have a general understanding of the general meaning, but then we have an individual interpretation of that. So in with someone, they may see it differently than you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And also symbols don't just show up in our dreams. You know, we will, for instance, when I was talking about the hummingbird and how the hummingbird showed up in my garage right after my brother passed, you know, that to me was a representation of death and moving on and so on. And many of them are not personal, but collective in nature. And he does say most are religious also in origin. And that could be because of biblical connotation. So.
Right. And teachings, upbringing.
Your
upbringing. Yeah.
And the things you see that you're not even aware of, you're looking at.
Correct. Yep. They were talking about, I'm reading this other book that's so fascinating about future memory. And they were talking about synchronicity today in that particular chapter. And it said that, you know, flow can happen in different ways, which we've talked about. But one of the ways that we haven't looked at before was when we stop thinking, when we just allow ourselves to go into the flow. It's amazing the synchronicities that we see. But we can't always stay in that non-thinking space because we live on this planet. And so we have to think about lots of different things. So we don't empty our minds enough. Yeah.
Right. I think, you know, to get to that place of quiet, people ask all the time. I have a hard time meditating. I have a hard time praying. I have a hard time keeping my mind still, having it be quiet. You know, that practice and that skill, if you will, is a practice learned thing.
It is.
You know, and how to put that into your daily life to, you know, like exercising or taking a walk or, you know, brushing your teeth. It is, you know, it is something that the people, when they don't do it after learning it, they miss it. You know, they notice the difference. They notice that something's off, you know, and then when they go back into their routine and are in that mindless place, life becomes a little easier. Life becomes, you know, it's kind of interesting, where you become more authentic to yourself rather than to the conversations. Whoa! I just beat up my microphone. Sorry, microphone. I'll try and put it back on. I'll be right back. No, no, I'm kidding. Let's see.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Okay. Yeah.
Here, now the peas won't pop.
Of course.
Are you cooking? What are you cooking?
Was that synchronistic? Was it?
Yeah, that was synchronistic. Yeah, it was. That was supposed to happen.
I get it. Wow. It says here that when we view things as symbolic, we'll interpret it in a different way than a person who believes things are disguised in the dream, but limits the dreamer by the way it was interpreted. So he admonishes us to learn more about symbolism, then look at the dream in a non-biased way, although we are the only ones who can really decipher our own. And we've said that many, many times, you know, that we're the most knowledgeable, really, about those symbols.
And because of that, words have two meanings. The general understanding is this is what you're saying to me, but I can't find a better word to tell you what I really saw, what I really felt, how the colors appeared. You know, you can't even paint it.
Right.
Come close.
Yep. I have to tell everybody, and because it's so impressive to me, Diana's an artist. She's a visual artist. And when she was in the dream classes with us, she would come in with the most unbelievable dreams. And she would have all these pictures drawn about what she saw. And I remember Kate and I were going, oh my God, but it was so wonderful because we got the visual, because you're able to show that. And sometimes that's, that's a true gift that you're able to do.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
It is.
Thank you. I do it when I'm meditating as well.
Okay.
And your dream class, I have to say this because it kept me doing it on a regular basis. And so I am like, Aley's got to bring that back. We need to do that again. We got to get this thing going. I mean, I do it, but not to the extent that
when we have a goal, it seems to be that we'll
okay,
do it
so
more.
here's a moment of prophecy.
Okay.
And Kate, you and I had a little discussion about this. When we were I had this dream several years ago. And there are dreams that I have, and probably with you as well, that they're so, I don't want to use the word poignant, but they're just so, you remember everything about them for years.
Every detail. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Netflix has a series called Wednesday.
Right.
It was awesome. I can't wait till second season.
Right.
But in the very last episode, or the second from the last episode, they're in the dream I had back in 2015, 2014, whatever year it was.
Wow.
And they're in this basement, this stairwell, this it's like I can't even describe it to you because it's both a castle and a classroom and a cloistered area, and it's just all these things at once. And in my dream, it was very colorful and very alive. I even had the dream a second time when Danny Shea was doing his shaman class.
Oh yeah.
I had a dream in a middle of the night kind of dream rather than in a earlier in the morning lucid type of dream. Mm-hmm. So at any rate, to have it show up in Danny Shea's gift, and then have it show up in Wednesday's show.
Right.
I mean, it was as if having it when doing the Danny Shea class was a reminder of
that dream,
which I already had, but to see it, how's that for prophetic? To see it,
that's future
all
memory,
dusty and dirty in the Wednesday program, and all fresh and real as if I had lived it in my dreams both times, and then have it show up there. Oh my God! I texted her right away and said, "Ah!"
Annie says, think you're strolling through the Akashic, maybe. Yeah, the Akashic records, maybe. Yeah.
I agree.
Wow. Yeah,
I agree.
That's fabulous. Wow. Oh my goodness. And Andrea's saying you drew pictures from your time together of things and that your collective is working on.
Yeah.
And that, that she was able to view the sketches and it underscored what was being shown. Yeah. That's wonderful.
Those are meditations. Those are things that, and I usually write the date, just like if it were in the dream journal.
Well, and what's so fascinating to me for you, Diana, is that you write it down and then it doesn't pop in again until it pops in again. And that is so important to detach, to allow the message to be received, even if it's not clear at the time, to
Right.
allow it to be, and then to come back and see it pop in is
That-
where it is just incredible.
That's the perfect word, detach.
Yeah. And that's being in the flow.
Detach.
That's being in the flow. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, Warrior Girl. I think if you can catch your dream in the middle of the night, like Diana said, that it's really deeply embedded into your psyche. And the ones that are in the afternoon, or if you take a nap or something, they're maybe more available.
It's it's hard to say. What
It
if?
is hard. Yeah.
Because what if the first one is the announcement, the second one is the clarity, the confirmation of the appointment.
Right.
Right.
Especially if it's a repetition, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And what if that confirmation of the appointment is because you don't remember when you had it in the thick of the night?
In the middle of the night. Right.
Right.
Yes.
And bits
That's
and
true.
pieces can come in all day long. You know, where you go, like, for me, it's interesting because I'll have something so not related to my conversation or to whatever it is I'm doing, and something will pop into my head and I'll go, ooh.
Oh, there we go. There's my face.
Where did that come from?
Walk to the head. No, the sun is just coming right through here. And I put a cloth up. And it's just intense.
Yeah, it is.
It's raw.
But I think that's where I think those little pop-ins are places where, you know, where you're being reminded of a piece, where you're given another piece again during the day,
because you might not remember them prior. Yeah, and your psyche knows that. It must be that your psyche is saying, "I better try it a different time of the day." And they can remember it.
Yeah,
because we do tend to remember dreams that are important to us.
Yes,
vivid. Vivid dreams. Yeah. It says that symbols are partly manifestations of the psyche that's beyond conscious mind, and also intuitions and impulses are instinctive and influence the activity of consciousness. So, that's where we talked last time about it is a part of reality. What is it? 70% of what we dream is truth, but we just have to decipher it, and the best person to decipher it is ourselves.
Yes.
A lot of times we just say, "Oh, it's weird,"
Sure. And what is it we're in denial about in our real life?
Right. So this is a good segue into the archetypes. Archetypes have always fascinated me. What they are is they are a model for a certain type of person. So if you got, for instance, Ebenezer Scrooge was a miser, So if you had a dream about Ebenezer Scrooge and about Ebenezer Scrooge, you probably would say, "Oh, yep, miserly old man, miserable guy, not nice, not kind." There are even people that have been more modernized as being archetypes, so we can know exactly what people are talking about. For instance, Princess Diana was the princess, and there has been no one else that has taken her place as of yet. Michael Jackson was considered to be the magician. And we can see that how he would change the way he did, his work and how he looked and everything about himself. And I'm sure there's a lot of others we could come up with. Yeah. But, it is a prototype. So Jung says that he called archetypes remnants or primordial images, and they're misunderstood as meaning definite motifs or mythological images. They are without known origin and yet reproduced all over the world, even when transmission would be ruled out. In other words, before they had television or anything that you could see what other people were doing, it was still happening at that time, which really was amazing. He says one patient had his 8-year-old's dream motifs listed. The child was not aware of the origin of the motifs at that time. There was an evil animal. There was an ascent to heaven. There was water dropping under a microscope. And he always said the kid always wrote "Once Upon a Time."
I
I was so
love that.
enthralled with that one. That
I
whole
love that.
segment. That was
Yeah.
That whole segment, yeah. So, yeah, and it says here that the child, he taught this. Many might believe religious training could have gestated in these dreams, but very little was taught, and the child was still young. 9 out of 12 of his dreams were influenced by destruction and restoration, and they are more for primitive myths. I believe that he died as a child, didn't he? I can't remember exactly in the story.
The child that was writing about it.
That was writing down the dreams.
Yeah.
I think
the child
did die. Yeah. So
died.
the restoration and the and the and the destruction.
When she was 8. She
Right.
gave them to her dad for Christmas when she was 10, and she died during that next year.
So she prophetically, if you looked at it afterwards, you could see that she was dreaming of destruction and resurrection throughout her dreams.
Birth, death, rebirth, right? That takes us back to that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even when we look at Scrooge, he started out a young man who had hopes and dreams.
Yes, he did. Until he got jaded.
Yeah. Something jilted him or whatever, jolted him. And turned ugly. And then he's reborn again.
Right.
Through those 3 dreams.
Yep. So most of us have a hero archetype as well. We look at the hero archetype. But I want to tell you, there's a wonderful book by Caroline Myss, or Mace. I don't know how you say her name. Yeah. And it wasn't Sacred Contracts, but it's Sacred something. And it's all about archetypes.
Yeah. She also had a kind of game or book or self-awareness.
Yes.
I had it a really long time ago where you could figure out what yours were. And
that's the book. That's the book.
And it was it was really fascinating to see how, like an astrological chart, you could have a combination of archetypes that would help you to learn about yourself.
And most of us have the saboteur everybody has the saboteur. Just depends on how much of a saboteur you are.
Yeah. I think I got a little hung up on the prostitute one. It was like, what? Me? What are you talking about? And then trying to interpret and understand what she was. What would you do for money that you normally wouldn't do for money?
What would you prostitute yourself for money? And it didn't have really anything to do with a sexual prostitute, except that if that's what you would prostitute, then that's what you would. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very interesting.
How far are you willing to go?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's Anatomy of the Soul. I don't know if that's it, but she is a wonderful writer.
Yeah.
She sure is.
She does classes too, and she's a medical psychic. That was where she discovered her real gift.
Her real calling.
Yeah. That it was really strong. And she's apparently really fascinating to see in person if you ever have a chance to see.
I have seen her. Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've seen her, but it was a long time ago. God, it was when I lived in New Hampshire. So it was, I don't know, 25 years ago or something. But yeah, she's a medical intuitive. Yeah. Yep. She really is.
Very interesting.
Yes. So I just feel like there's so much that goes into our dreams that we haven't been able to really touch and understand, and that's why this particular book has been such a good eye opener for me, even though I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah. The mysteries of being a spirit in human form, right, are just, it's the bounties of it, the exploration of it, the excitement of it. It's just amazing how much we could go and where we could go with all of it. So it's awesome when there's something new that pops in, that you have a light bulb that goes off and you go, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Aha.
Because you go back and look at all the places where that popped in your life, and
that's right.
More meaning to it. It makes more sense when you
It
have
does.
those aha moments. And I think that's some of the, the amazing part of looking at dreams is because they encompass so much
They do.
of our development, of our trust, of our belief systems. All of that is incorporated in this wonderful world of dream. So there's my 2 cents.
Did you want to say something, dear Diana?
No, I'm just trying to keep the sun on.
You always look like you're asking, can I talk?
I'm the ghost of Christmas past.
So before we get to talking about some of the dreams that were put up, I just want to mention that he says, what we refuse to admit is that we're dependent on powers beyond our control, which is fate. But Jung says modern man pays the price many times due to lack of introspection or looking inside, through restlessness, apprehension, psychological complication, pills, alcohol, tobacco, food, and other neuroses.
Yeah.
Because we fear it.
Yeah.
If we, let's cover it up. Let's cover it up as much as we can because it's scary,
Very scary.
Yeah. And of course, that's the same thing with what the shadow self. And if you're having a dream and your shadow self shows up, you certainly don't feel comfortable with that either, whatever that is for you. But wow, just so much, really so much. I would recommend the book to read it on your own time. It's a man's C.G. Young's Dreams and Symbols. And if you have something else, ladies, you want to say about it before we move in, but I just want to say that it's worth it. The first 95, I think it is, pages, it depends on the size of the book you get.
Right. Yeah.
We get the real small print, but that gives you a little bit of a background as to, the psychological things that you could, and the wealth of information you can learn from your dreams. Really.
Well, I did want to mention too that Carl Jung was involved in a group of very intelligent people of the time. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Movers and shakers, man. They still taught.
Right.
A lot of his friends created fundamentals for how we look at psychiatry, how we look at treatment, how we look. And when he first started talking about that, there was pushback. They didn't want to go there. They were like, well, that's really nice now, but could you go away? He had discovered this. It lit him up. He was so excited about all of this. And the BBC, had him come on and talk about it. And then he thought he was done. And the universe said, we got plans for you, buddy. And it was a very interesting unfolding of ideas and ways of looking at it and, exploring it. And I just really was blown away by the idea that he said, you know what? No, I think this is really worth holding on to. And later with enough pressure, came up with the book, writing the book. And he had the right support system around him. And he really did feel like he was done. I'm just done. I want to coast, and so I found it really fascinating that the universe brought strangers into his life, brought people into his life, got supporters from his group of friends and whatnot else that could contribute to the book as well. And that whole looking at, thinking I'm old, I don't want to do this. I gave it to them already, and
I know.
The universe said, "Oh, you're not done yet, honey."
The old shoulder poke, right?
Right. And that takes me back to a big part in the book where he was writing about man disregarding his mythology, disregarding dreams when it was the normal thing to do. But as man progresses and thinks he's more intelligent than anything else that's out there, and so we're going to reject the God figurehead, the birth, death, rebirth channel. We're gonna get rid of all that stuff because we're smarter, and you don't need God. You just need to be this.
Right.
And all they're doing is relabeling what already was, calling the internet God,
Right. So he also said that many times, he said that through cultivating thoughts of things that cannot be proven is a good reason, because they are useful in self-place in the universe. They help us parse out who we are in the world, and the sense of a wider meaning of our life raises our vibration beyond cycles of merely getting and spending and basically just, being a material person.
What I love, Carl Jung was an astrologer. And
Okay.
Kate mentioned that earlier, that we can find it in our chart, and that was coming from Caroline Miss. Absolutely.
Yeah.
My Chiron sits on my moon in Sagittarius in the second house. Guess what I sabotage myself with, right? The second house is about money.
Yeah.
I always tell myself, listen, go ahead and buy a little something. I don't do it as astrology.
Well, we all have some kind of an addiction, Diana. Mine happens to be coffee.
I don't do it as much as I used to, for sure. I have gotten a little bit smarter, but there are times where it's only $5. Yeah. And then I say it 6 times that day.
6 times a day. I know. Yep. Yeah. But 5 at a time makes it easier. Yeah.
Yeah. You get so much more. Remember when the dime store was really a treasure trove?
It was. But they had a lot of junky stuff, my mother would say. Was her phrase, junky stuff. And
I
my
got
daughter,
a lot of really cool junky stuff that goes back to the dime store in the 20s.
My daughter always said to me, "What a silly thing to say," but she did it too. She'd say it because it was one of those things that we just said as a family, All that. Oh, I don't want to go in there. They just have a bunch of junky stuff. Oh, so he does mention this, and I thought it was interesting because I'm not Jewish, and I didn't read the Talmud, but he says the Talmud says the dream is its own interpretation, and it is problematic to a scientific mind because it doesn't fit into our intellect or our logic, because we know dreams are all boggled up in all these weird things. They're not defining it under the direction of the unconscious meaning. An interpretation of dreams does demand intelligence. We need to understand the dreamer's individual personality and the self-awareness of the interpreter.
Right.
And so that's why on this channel, when we do this, we say, this is what I think, but that might not be what the message is for you. Right.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
We get those little whispers that nobody can explain either.
Yes.
Or the dream books.
Yeah.
People will play the numbers according to the dream they had. My grandmother would save years and years of the 3 Wise Men dream books, all about numerology and what your dream boils down to numerically. So.
Oh wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
So Willow, you say here, money flows through my hands like water. Instead, say money comes to me in my hands like water. There you go. We'll change it around.
And I got a cup. I got a cup to put it in. I'm holding a cup, and the water's coming into my hand.
Hypnicity. I see you tried to email Diana. So send me the email and I will send it on to her, because for some reason she says AOL won't take her Hotmail address. So send it to me.
What?
I'll pass it along. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad, Willow. I figured you probably did. So, okay. So let's do some dream analysis here before we leave today. We have Craig had a dream where he saw his brother as a toddler. He was so healthy and a little fussy. He knew who I was, but seemed not to like being small again. I held him and told him I loved him. And Craig said he passed in 2006.
Oh. So when did you have that dream? Recently or closer to the
He did. He had it recently, he said. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I wonder if he's reincarnated.
I was having that thought. And also, this is him reaching out, letting you know he misses you as much as you miss him.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And you were comforting him because he was fussy. And
let me ask you another question. Do you know any toddlers? They don't even have to be close association to you, but maybe this is him reaching out to let you know, I've become this toddler in this new life. The Heidi syndrome. I'm very close to you. I'm so close I can hear you. I can see you.
He says no. Yep. Some have said he wasn't going to come back again. Well, he may have changed his mind, but maybe it's got nothing to do with that, Craig. It's very true.
So, right? Because we make a contract, the soul makes a contract. The soul can break a contract, change the contract.
Yep.
If my interpretation of this is that Craig is going to start something new in his life, some sort of creative process, some sort of, I don't know, restoring another car or writing his book.
Writing a book. Yeah.
Yeah. And that this is his brother's way of saying, I am with you while you are doing this. And you may have some upset moments, the fussy, but I want you to know you're strong enough and healthy enough to do this. And that with your own self-love and with your love that I can share that we have between each other, you're going to get through this. And not only are you going to get through this, but you're going to really love doing it as well. Because you will feel him, right? I held him and I told him that I love you. So whatever this project is very dear to your heart. It is something that will connect you with him on a spiritual level, where you may be seeing him more and more in your dreams as you do the project. Okay. And that is his way of saying, I'm here. Don't fight this. Don't, how kids can be fussy.
Yeah.
You try and figure out, do you want milk? Do you want this? Do you want that? What?
You have a wet diaper? Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. And that's just my opinion. Because the contact with our loved ones is so special. But I think that, he is really reaching out to you saying, I'm here. I want to help. I'm connected to you. And by showing himself as a small child instead of, at the age where they're grown and beautiful and everything else, that it may be because there's a project, something new, something creative, something coming into your life. So I hope that makes sense.
And the fussiness is because he's not doing what he should. And where'd she go? So a fussy toddler wants something. He wants you to work on the book.
He wants you to work on the book. Yeah, you're so welcome, Craig. We love having you here and sharing all the time with us.
That's right. Yes, and Andrea's mentioning they did find classified documents today in Mike Pence's house as well.
I know. I've been wanting the moment to tell you.
I think you're going to find him everywhere. You're going to find him everywhere.
I got to tell you, you can't put a piece of paper in my husband's hand. He does not know what to do with it. Okay, so he can read it and then he has to hand it to me to know where it goes. Does it
where
go
to
in
store it?
Does it go in the pile? Right. So I think that there may be a connection here with guys and paper. Maybe.
Well, if they find it in Kamala's house, if they go to Kamala's and they find it, then that won't work. So the only problem it does is, the only thing I don't care about it is that while it seems to be more than normal, that's going to make whose seem more normal, and it wasn't. His was very.
His is fighting returning it. They're all going, oops, look, I found this. Here, have it back.
Look, I found this here. Yeah.
There's
So-
a body interred on the first hole of a golf course that they need to go because he's got a tunnel that leads right to it. He's got a tunnel that leads
probably.
Hey, I'm going to be glad when we're on to something better. Isn't that promised in the springtime where things get lighter and better and sweeter? And
by March. Yeah.
Thank you, stars. We're ready for you. We're pulling on you. Hurry up, get here.
So we have 2 more dreams here. Liebe, is it? Lieb? We'll get to yours. Let's see. Samantha first says she's going to start a dream journal because her dreams are getting clearer. Good. Everybody needs to do that. It really is helpful. It really is. She had a dream. She had a dream. A man approached her, took her pulse, and said, you'll have to fix this in a couple of years. Ooh. And then he told her what was happening to her because he had to. And he smiled and walked away.
Oh,
that's your higher self. Woo-wee.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to share what you get for that first, Aley?
It's a warning. It's a warning that you need to take care of yourself. You might have high blood pressure, or that it may, you don't want to wait too long because it is a silent disease. So it is, to me, it's your higher self saying, you best check this out. What do you got?
Unrequited love. Think of all the things that go with the heart, which is
that's
where
true.
Blood pumps through. So,
yep. Could be.
Yeah, she didn't recognize the man, but she was still comfortable enough to let him touch her.
Right.
So you're right.
Yes.
And in a personal way, like a doctor would, by taking pulse. Yes. So I do think, I agree with you, Aley, that this could be a forewarning or a reminder to take care and self-care, right? Self-care and healthcare. The fact that he's mentioning a couple of years almost sounds like it's a very quiet, subtle, slow thing. Whatever take a look at this. So, pay attention, I would say, to any changes in how you feel, any changes in your energy, your vitality, the mobility, even all of those things, any changes in those things. And then remember the dream about you might have to. So, you will have to fix this is like, but I think that he's saying that, he's saying that, you can prevent this, can prevent something. Smiled to me says that who this is. So higher self, guardian angel,
part of you
guides and angels. Yeah. And the fact that he walked away and didn't say, okay, now I'm going to stay with you until you do fix this, means that you have the tools and intuitiveness to know it when it presents itself. Okay. So
absolutely.
That he's trusting you that you've gotten the message and that you will take care of it, and that whatever it won't be as disastrous or a big thing as it could have been had you not had the dream. So
I love that you have this forewarning. I would say if you go into Walgreens or you go by the pharmacy every once in a while, go in and have your blood pressure checked. Doesn't hurt if you don't have it done normally, let's say. And just keep an eye on it because it is a silent thing. But it could be something else. But I think I don't know. It kind of makes me happy that it happened and you remember it. Yeah. Because to me, it was something that was important for you to remember. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Was there another one, Aley?
Yes, there is. But I just wanted to share this because I put it up. Penny says she remembers Nana had a book of numbers sitting around her house. You were talking about numbers and numerology, Diana. So
that's my grandmother.
A book of numbers.
Yeah. Little bookie.
Yeah. Why not? Okay, so Willow sees low red blood cells, poor oxygen. Well, Willow, that's very possible as well. It's very, just good to keep a check on whatever your health is, definitely. So we just got this one up here, and welcome to our dream show. I have not seen you here. You may have been here before, but glad you're here. Had a dream recently that I was bit by a snake. I wasn't too alarmed about it, but my dream, I woke up right away to actually figure out what the outcome was. So she wasn't too alarmed about it.
Transmutation.
Shedding of skin.
Transmutation. Transformation. Transfiguration.
Yeah.
Sometimes dreams are so vivid that they want us to wake up. You know, wake up. There's something happening. Wake up. Wake up. Okay. So my cousin shared with me that he feels like he's in quicksand, and that, you know, he's trying to stop the sand from sucking him in, and he wakes up and realizes he had low blood sugar.
Oh.
So whenever he has that dream, he knows that he's being told to wake up. Come on, wake up, buddy, wake up. And it's something outrageous, so that he does jolt awake. But I would be interested to know if Lieb was, and I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not. Has a dream journal where when you know there's something significant, that you wake yourself up to write it down, and remember it. I think the fact that it was a snake, the snakes are transformative. They're very spiritual. They can represent, you know, something new gift being given to you. The fact that you had no pain, the fact that you saw the snake biting you. You know, a transfer of a gift can come in many different ways, a way to remember. And so the fact that you weren't frightened about it, to me, says it was something that you were accepting, that you had before, or that you were accepting of whatever the snake was offering to you. And so it'd be interesting to know how this, there we go. That's awesome, by the way.
I know, it really is. Yeah.
We might have to have you on the show. But how you see how you interpret the snake is the most, for me, snakes are like, ew, ew, ew. My brother brought home a baby rattler and dropped it behind the head of my bed when we were little. So, you know, I couldn't sleep in my bed for several days.
I don't blame you.
You know, I kept thinking the snake was there. My dad had to come and rescue everybody. And you know, so growing up, we had to learn very quickly what was a poisonous snake, what was a normal, what considered a good snake, kind of thing. But you know, the snake, and giving you something by biting you, to me, means that you've been given a gift. Yeah.
Wow.
Kundalini, yes.
Love that, Juno.
Yes. Steve, if you want to put a dream up, go right ahead. We have room for one more. That's fine. Cool. Juno's brought up a good thing. And of course, a snake is a representation of Kundalini rising. Of course, being bit is a little different. It has a different take on it, but it didn't sound like this person, Lieb, was worried about it. But she did say that it's waking up for your transformation. I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's true. That's true.
And that there is assistance for you, that you are supported. You are not alone in this, you know, that it's that they are with you.
Yeah. I think that's, go right ahead, Diana. Yes, I'm sorry.
It just dawned on me that there was a part of the thing where I was talking about Danny and his class. I had the dream the night before the class. And in the class, he was beginning with a meditation. And that's what he did, was walking down these stairs. You see these pictures hanging on the wall. And so that's why all of this commonality between the first dream, the second dream the night before the class, then he does exactly what the dream does, is walk me down the stairs, see a chair, see these pictures, go down another set of stairs, and then to see it in Wednesday's show. So I just had to add that. Sorry for the interruption.
No, don't be sorry. That's perfectly fine. I mean, it's important. I've got to now watch that show. I started watching episode 1. It didn't catch me, and everybody's talking about it.
Christina
gets better.
Ricci shows up. You gotta watch.
Gets better. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They kind of had to lay the groundwork. You know,
Yeah,
I get it.
That's your introduction. You
Like,
know. So.
Yeah.
Episode 3, things start to move along.
Okay. All right. I'll give it another go. I'll give it another chance.
It's better than Winx. And I still watch that one too.
I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, I love these dreams. I don't know if Steve, are you going to put up your dream? I do want to say, Juno, that it's fascinating that you had a real snake coil up and you weren't nervous about it at all, because that a lot of us wouldn't be feeling that way.
But if it was a king snake,
Right.
you can relax. They're
Right.
good old.
See, and I can't tell I mean, I know a rattlesnake makes rattling noises, but I don't know the difference between all these different snakes. So, but there's also, Andrea says, which makes sense, reading about snake power animals. So that might be worth it for you to check into as well. It could be that you have snake energy and
Right.
It bit you to wake you up to the fact that you have that kind of energy. I mean, there's an awful lot.
Well, and they also give snakes a bad rep because
They do.
use it as a symbol for evil. And the whole story about St. Patrick chasing the snakes.
Oh, right.
Out
of Ireland. Yeah.
Baloney. Yeah. They don't have snakes because of the ice age. They just can't survive there.
Right.
They've only got one reptile to begin with. And that's
Right.
a little lizard. And St. Patrick casting the snakes out, well, the druid were able to work with snake energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was the symbology of his conversion of every druid and getting rid of all druid priests and the druid religion or whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned Danny Shea because I'm pretty sure he was in my dream last night. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we had a conversation about how does he keep all of his female fans from not flirting with him or, you know, falling in love with him because he's, you know, he's such a cutie pie. But
Yeah.
I think we were talking about that. How do you do that? Like, why would I need to know that? I have no idea.
Especially when he comes in looking like Jack Nicholson, you know.
He's the sweetest.
So Steve has his dream up here, and I have a thought about it. But he says in elementary school he was attracted to a girl in his class, and she lived in his neighborhood. As an adult, very close with a woman 40 years ago. Never dream with the adult, always with the neighbor girl. Why? And I say unrequited love. You know,
that's the one.
Yeah, that's like the little girl was not attainable. And, you know, and you weren't old enough yet to have this relationship with her. So it was one of those situations where you loved her from afar. So she's like the perfect model of what you believe that love might be, maybe. I mean, I'm guessing, but always the neighbor girl. So that's your basis for what the perfect woman might be. I don't know, ladies.
Go ahead, Diana.
Well, to me, that's the one that got away.
Got away. Yeah.
And it's whatever it was, she could possibly have been somebody that came with you from a past life as well. You know, those are questions that we really can't answer because how do we prove that? We can only prove it through our emotions. So you're still looking for her to come back. Where is she today? How can you, right? Yeah. You want her in your life because there's something that was unfinished back then.
Yeah.
And I had that with a past boyfriend from high school. Everybody was matched up in my dreams to that perfect. And until I realized he wasn't perfect, I had that dream and then it went away.
Yeah, I have to agree. I feel like this neighborhood friend, this neighborhood girl, you recognized her spirit. You recognized the spirit of the little girl, and remember in a soul level, What is this? The older one?
He says, I'd rather dream about the older woman. I don't blame you. You don't want to be a pedophile, so yeah.
Right. But what I think what the connection is that the connection is still real. I think that the soul of this little girl and you have a connection, a psychic connection that is a spiritual one of support, that she keeps showing up in your dreams because she is showing you something, because you are learning something from her, not necessarily that you're in love with her, or not necessarily that you wonder what would happen if you had grown up together and gotten married, but the connection, the heartwarming connection, the repeatability of it, the fact that she is young, that you recognized her there at that age, you recognized her at some level within your spirit, that this other spirit from past lives or from current lives, or
could be.
However you want to look at it. She's a support for you, a loving support for you.
Sure. And the recurrence of the dream, think about how many times we hear that wonderful story about, we went to grade school together and lost track of each other and then found each other on Facebook one day. And, we're in love. I mean, you never know. I'm not saying it's a prophetic dream in that extent, but we manifest in so many ways, and you may be able to manifest it by having that dream.
Yeah.
It's interesting because he said she was definitely incompatible by high school, which can happen. Yeah.
The incompatible, that piece means that they have separate paths. It doesn't mean they're not connected anymore, because the recognition is still there. It just means, it's like a crossroads in your life where you want to go to the right, but the universe is saying, well, wait a minute, no, we want you to go to the left, so we're going to create a little disturbance over here on the right so that you have to go to the left. Don't get tied up in this. This is something, this is a separation that was necessary for your journey at this point in your life.
It just reminded me. It reminded me of kindergarten, because I didn't have one little boy I liked. I had twins. Two boys, and I couldn't decide which one I liked the best. So I had both of them, and they both turned out to be the biggest dirtbags you ever met in your life. But not when they were in kindergarten. They were
of course.
Yeah.
Well, there's such
they were working on it.
Right.
We have one last one here from Lise. She says her mother has dreamt that her father might have been her stepfather. Would that be possible?
Her mother has dreamt that her father might have been a stepfather in a past life,
or no? I think that he was. That maybe he wasn't her real father.
Wasn't.
Right?
Yeah. Really wasn't father, but rather stepfather.
You know what I think? I think that at that time, if you were our age and your mom would have been that age, that you didn't have illegitimate children, or you didn't have, you didn't tell anybody. And it's very possible that was not your real father, but they didn't bother to tell you because that's quiet down on the down low.
Right. Especially up until Vietnam. So if she's of an era of the Korean War or World War II or any other kind of confrontation before that, then I would say, that's a good possibility. Something happened and something happened to him. Or just, even if it wasn't a war-oriented reason for his leaving, then
she said this is
better than being sent to the convent inappropriately.
That's
I'm a little confused, because it's her mother's dream.
Yeah.
Is it her mother questioning the grandfather?
No, the mother. Lisa, it's like Lisa's mother was telling about her dream. Okay, so it would have been Lisa's grandfather, right? But the mother.
That's where I'm confused. So for me, my initial thing was that they didn't really know who he was. They didn't really know who he was.
They didn't feel connected.
Right.
By blood. Yeah.
Right. That,
Yeah.
that who he showed them he was not real. Or that they had reason to believe that it was not real, that what he presented was not real. But I'm still a little confused, because if it's the grandfather, then that would make sense. But if it's her dad, her mom would know who she married. So I'm kind of confused with it. It's the grandfather level. It's at the
It's her
grandfather.
mother's father. Her mother's father.
Mother.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Was raised by
reminds me of the Judds. Remember, the Judds didn't know, and we found out much later that Naomi Judd had a boyfriend that was a football player, and that's why Winona looks so totally different than her sister. Remember reading that story? I mean, I'm not a country person, but it came out like when Winona always felt like, this isn't my real father. It just doesn't. It doesn't resonate. Yeah.
We found out after a second cousin's husband had passed that he had an entire separate family, because both families showed up at the funeral, and they both claimed to be the wife of the deceased.
Oh God, that's Charles Perrault.
Yeah,
Charles Perrault.
There you go. So I think that understanding the connection, being true to your heart about knowing who you are working with or dealing with or falling in love with, that Lisa's mom may have been giving her the information during a time where she was starting a new relationship, or where she was involved with a boss, that someone was presenting themselves falsely, and this may have been the way for her mom to say, honey, this isn't real. You know in your heart that something's off. So pay attention to this something off, as my way of supporting you in what you're doing with what you're doing. It's a really interesting question, but I don't know
that I have an answer. But you might not feel like you belong in a family. That can happen. And it actually, my husband is, and he's got plenty of baby pictures to show he is where he belongs, but he's so different than everybody else in his family. Totally different.
Right.
And, so it's like that can also feel that way. So.
And family dynamics are really interesting too. That's a piece that only Lisa would be able to fill in, to fill in that backstory. So I so appreciate the question, though. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And yes, genealogy also discovers lots of things we didn't know about either. And so and I had that the other day with a question where this person, wanted to know, found out after her husband died that he said there was no relatives alive, and there's all these people that were on Ancestry that, that came up afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking he either didn't know, which is very possible, or he knew and he didn't want to have anything to do with these people.
Right.
That's another thing. So wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is amazing. Yes. Well, thank you, everybody. We've had a great show, and of course, we didn't hit everything again, but that's okay, because the mystery is that you need to probably read the book yourself too, if you're interested in knowing a little bit more. Yeah.
And you'll never regret it. And take your time doing it. And if you go to Thrift Books, you can get the big one with all the beautiful colored plates in it. And and it'll only cost you a couple of bucks. Like I think I spent $4.50 on this one with the dust jacket. And as a lover of books, it will never leave my side.
I don't blame you. Yeah. Lisa said she was in a corner at the family gatherings. Her DNA a little different, but it's never 100%. So it could be.
Well, that happens all the time. My cousin Penny is my cousin through marriage. Her husband is the cousin.
Okay.
So in his DNA, he shows up related to my brother, not through the Poniatowski side where it should be, but rather through his mother's side. And his mother is not in the Poniatowski. It's all convoluted. It's just too crazy.
Okay.
Like, how are you showing up through genealogy and not through the Poniatowski? Because the rest of us are bleeding Poniatowski.
Right,
know?
right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank
So
you, everybody. I'm sorry, Kate. Go ahead.
I was just gonna apologize because last time we asked folks to do a poll for us, and when I went back to look for the poll information, it was gone. So I guess we're just gonna keep this same time slot, Aley, or will there be a special announcement if we change the time slot?
If we change it, we'll give you an announcement. Yeah. I have one more dream that just came up here. So if anybody wants to stay, we'll stay for a few more minutes.
Sure,
Tammy Jackson had a dream this morning about her dad. She needed to know if I need to replay the message he gave me for my nephew. I needed to know.
I would.
If it involves a nephew, absolutely. And that it'll open the door to a conversation. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I had this dream last night and I want to share it with you.
Right.
If the message is for your nephew, then yeah, absolutely. And it's a loving
yeah, it's a loving gesture.
It's a loving gesture. And if you know what it was so clear as day. Absolutely. Then
trust your gut. Yeah. You got a message. Mm-hmm.
And then let us know what your nephew thought. Did he go along with it, or did he say, oh, it was just a dream? But you know what? It's okay. Relay the message because that's what your heart is saying to do. And then let it go. However he wants to receive it, he'll receive it.
He'll receive it. Yeah.
If it was clear as day, absolutely, Tammy. Do it. You can regret it. He can just say, meh.
Oh, he said to tell him.
That would be a very important message, I would think. I would want to hear that.
I would want to hear that.
Absolutely. Thank you, dear.
That's wonderful. Dear. Thank you, Tammy. Yeah. Just reminding us, that the most important is the love connections.
That's right.
Where we share each other, and it continues. Sometimes relationships, when they're here, don't always work out the way we would hope they would. But from the other side, the love coming through and making amends or saying, I love you is so powerful.
It is.
Say it.
I remember thinking that, you aren't responsible for the way he takes the message, but you are responsible to pass on the message. And like Kate says, you don't have to say, you can just say it was a dream, and that's fine, even though you probably got a visitation. So.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
It does.
So tell people that you love them often. Never let it.
It's never too much. Right? It's never too much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's right. Yep. Bless everybody. Thanks, ladies. Thank you, everybody in the chat.
Thanks, everybody in the chat.
Thank you.
There were a whole gang of folks, and we love having you here.
Yeah, we do. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Diana, for coming. Bye-bye. Bye, Kate.
Bye.